The following program is rated TV MALV. It contains strong language and violence. It is intended. Viewer discretion advised.
Okay, so we got to take a second to talk about this Nerporial life form guy. In my life, I have never seen more shit takes ever. The mouth breathing pulled you into a scene. I mean, what is happening with this guy? What is happening here?
Have you even read the fucking book, Nerdporial?
Being out of touch with reality the last several minutes has made humanity as a whole dumber than these book-burning shills.
How does he call himself a Wheel of Time fan? I mean, how slow does this dude read? He's been reading The Shadow Rising for about 2.5 years.
Fuck.
You Chicago dipshit motherfucker.
Get over yourself.
What is going on?
Last time on Revisiting the Wheel of Time.
I didn't postpone it this time, so can't get mad this time.
Nope. Okay, but I can't get mad at you because you didn't tell me what chapter we were reading to. You just said halfway, and so I had to speed read 2 chapters before the stream when you announced it like an hour beforehand.
You know this is going to go into next week's intro, so there you go. It's going in, staying in. All right.
I didn't have to speed read anything. I was already ahead of you.
There you go. To chapter 29, which is the one with Hadnaka there. I can't think of the name right now.
Dreams of Saldea?
Dreams of Saldea. There you go. Saldea. That's how you say it. That's how you say it.
No.
They're like, if you do this again, we are not going to teach you. Yep. We are not going to be responsible for your stupid decisions.
And 99% of people would take that lesson to heart, except Egwene. She's in the special 1% because she's a sociopath.
Yeah. Okay. I thought she was a psychopath. If you've watched earlier Wheel of Time streams, right, Pips? So.
That's just in the TV show, though.
So part of it was like, hey, like,
right. If you're properly writing a story, you give your characters a want, a need, and a flaw. Right? They've got something they want, that's their motivation. They got a need, that's what they find out is what they needed to go after all along. And they have a flaw to overcome.
Yeah.
And a lot of modern media is very reticent to give, especially female characters, a flaw.
And now, the continuation.
What's up, everybody? Welcome to the third book club for The Fires of Heaven. So here we're going to be covering chapters 30. So chapter 30 is a wager to chapter 46, which is other battle, other weapons. So we're going to be covering a lot. We're going to be covering a lot of ground today, and then next week will be the finale. So with me, I got some great guests, some great guys to talk to, and we'll start with the one that's got to leave the quickest. So let's start with Technically Mexican. What's up? Thanks for being here again.
I'm doing good. I just my wife is out of town on a business trip, so I'm alone with all of my kids. So I've got a little baby monitor set up, and I'll have to leave a little bit earlier than I normally have to leave early just to get them ready for bed so I can start my next stream.
All right, nice. So any initial thoughts on these waves of chapters?
Just buckle up, baby, because it's all uphill from here. It's all, well, if it's like, if you I love this part of the book.
Okay. All right. Thanks. Thank you, sir. And with me and also with us is the one and only Dane. What's up, Dane? What's so funny? It's not something I said.
Buckle up because you're going uphill.
Well, because if you go downhill, that sounds like a bad thing. But that's when you would need to buckle up.
But you do need to buckle up. You got to buckle up and feel the G's. And this one, honestly, Brian,
my metaphor didn't make a lot of sense. Okay, I'm sorry.
It made sense to me. Matt shines through in these chapters.
Best Matt stuff.
You get some of the best Matt stuff in the series, and it's funny. It may not be funny on the first read through, but the second read or whatever, once you get him as a character and where it's going, it's funny.
Well,
really,
all right, we'll talk about that. We'll go through this stuff first, and then I'll share my thoughts about that.
Yeah, that's what this whole book club stuff is about, Brian. So we're
exactly.
glad to help guide you and correct your incorrect first impressions.
There you go.
On the way,
perfect.
Go through this.
Yep, and I have to say, we have another White Cloak returning, Alex. What's up, Alex?
Shit.
What's going on, man? I am alive, barely. I'm doing well. It just got back from Dune 2.
Okay, you saw it too. Nice. We'll have to talk about that.
A wild bale fire in the background who just peeked around the corner.
Yes. Yeah.
So how you doing, Alex? Any thoughts on this week's chapters, or even last week's chapters?
I forgot how much I love Fires of Heaven. Like, Lords of Chaos gets a lot of credit for being an absolute banger of a book, and it 100% is. But Fires of Heaven is
this one's better, man.
98% of Lords of Chaos.
Oh, okay, nice.
I get the feeling Nerdporial didn't like it. He keeps every time we say something good, he's like, okay.
Wherever gave you that idea?
What gave me the idea is when I told you about the Stegade blossoms and the whole Avienda got lied twice, and being like, "Hey, this is a cool insight," and you were just like,
there were things that I did like from this block, and there are things that we'll talk about and everything. So, but starting with this initial 3 chapters right here, we're back to Rand. I actually like this one. This one felt very fantasy. Just something just happens out of the blue, and they're in danger. It was kind of fun. So I figure we'll start from chapter 30. I like this. This chapter was a good setup chapter. I felt like we haven't seen them for a few chapters now, and this one really felt like a prelude to the storm, or calm before the storm type of chapter. I like how it was like nighttime. Rand was alone. He tried to be alone, away from everybody, including Moraine. He's trying to get the hell away from her. But it felt like, I don't know. I just liked how this one in particular, it was just like we just got off of going through 2 different towns that just got completely obliterated by the Shido.
Yeah.
So we kind of know what the stakes are because of that. What's up?
It was worse than that. Like the some of the descriptions about what the Shaido do to the Kyrianen, it's some of the most horrific shit in the series. Like the impalements, you can't take the bodies down, and the most chilling thing, and I'll reiterate this, is how this kind of attitude towards the Kyrianen is echoed by Rand's own Aiel.
Yeah, the tree killers. Oathbreakers.
Rand and Matt and your main characters, they're the ones bothered by the butchery being done by the Shaido. The Aiel, not so much.
Yeah.
The Aiel they're more bothered that the Shaido took them Gaishain than the other really bad stuff.
Yeah.
These people don't follow Jieto, therefore they shouldn't be made Gaishain, but if they were, and it comes home a little bit later. I'm not going to spoil it for you, but there's a pretty callous moment in the next book where it's just this kind of flippant attitude toward the Kyrianen. It's it's supposed to make you uncomfortable, I think. Is the message at the end of the day.
And I mean it did its job. So, and then just having this type of chapter, and just us curious, like what's going to happen to Kyrian and all that. Is Kyrian going to be able to hold out against the Shaido and everything? So we get a group of riders that show up. So we get to see the Tyrants again, and they come with some really short little Kyrianen. So I like how they go. I like how once again they go into like how short the Kyrianen are. They're like literally like they're like the city of manlets basically. And they're just treated like
you're not wrong.
They're treated like they're second class. They're treated like they're second class.
They shave the top of their forehead. They've got powdered wigs. It's like it's like Marie Antoinette, the movie or whatever. All the worst elements of it. Think a Louis the 14th kind of court.
Oh, I see. What's I'm curious. The whole rising sun thing, is it just because they're in the east or something? That they have that thing. Because I'm curious if there's any Japanese. If they're
that is the Kyrianen are typically a combination of the Japanese and the French.
All right. Okay.
Hence
explain the height.
I just watched Shogun this week, and they definitely shaved the top of their heads. You know, so.
Yeah.
Well, especially this part.
They make themselves look like middle-aged men. They shave off the top.
Yep.
They do their little.
Yep, they got the friar horseshoe going on.
Yeah.
They don't necessarily have the tonsure going, but they got like the. Anyways, not important. It has zero bearing on the ultimate themes of the whole series. So.
Yeah, so we get a nice little, they have like 7 days. They have 7 days to get there, so it feels like things are kicking in and everything. We're like, we gotta get there soon and everything, or shit's gonna go bad or whatever. So I was really hyped. I was really hyped for this one. So, I'm trying to think. But yeah, we meet. Who do we meet? We meet. We meet Adorian Estion. I think that's how you say his name.
Yep.
Maressen and Darrakane. So Maressen and Darrakane are the Kyrianen, and Adorian and Estion are the Tyrants. And I think one of them is the son of one of the lords. I forget if it's High Lord Torian or Dorian or DeLorean.
You actually meet both Estion and Adorian in Matt's card game back at the Stone of Tyr. Or Tyr, or general. In an early chapter of The Shadow Rising, you remember Matt is playing cards with noble lords or noble sons of lords. These are two of them.
I never remember their names.
Just that's why I'm pointing it out here.
Yeah,
it's like you're not expected. Like there's so many named characters, but it's only like once the wikis are kind of up that you can. And if you've read the whole series, you dare to read the wiki. So I'm just telling you now, like, yeah, you've met these dudes before, and they were buddies of Matt, which has bearing later on.
Oh, okay, makes sense. So yeah, so we got that little we get some news that that there's Kyrian's been flooded with refugees, and the Fort Gate has been burnt, and all the food's gone and everything. So yeah, I'll just say, it just once again got me excited for the upcoming battle, or I wasn't sure what they were going to do, what RJ was going to do with this. So we'll get to that when we get to that. So yeah, so they go, and I forget, is this the no, I don't know if is this the chapter where they go into the portal, or is it the next one? Let me look.
It's the next one.
Next chapter is where they start banging.
Oh yeah, okay. Mars knows.
Spoilers, Alex. Jeez.
So, but yeah, so they're going through. So yeah, so he goes into a building. He claims a building for himself, but instead of it being for the maidens, he wanted to. He was supposed to be for like people from the Two Rivers or something. And I never really paid.
House of the Wine Spring Brothers or something like
that.
Like you have to drink for the Wine Spring water in order to get in.
Yeah, so I was curious if that was ever going to be a thing where it would be him, Matt, Matt, Egwene, Lan, and Moraine. I guess I'm assuming they drank. from the wine spring. So those five, I thought they were going to have a meeting. I thought there was going to be I thought they were going to have a little chapter. They were going to have a little discussion, and talking.
That was interesting rereading for the first time when that came up. I was like, oh yeah, that really goes nowhere. But in hindsight, it's kind of just him, coming up with an excuse to be alone.
Yeah.
But there are two people who ignored it immediately. One being, Jason Natale or Asmodean, and the other being Avienda. Obviously, they don't care. So it's only directed towards the maidens, where it did work, which we'll find out in the next chapter in hilarious ways.
Yeah,
it worked.
Yeah. So he goes into the building. She's already there. I think she's already she naked already, and then she just reacts and creates a portal somehow. Or a doorway, or what is it? Is it?
It's technically called the gateway.
Gateway.
You'll learn more of what she did, but what effectively she's done is traveling. Traveling was mentioned in the prologue of the very first book.
Yeah.
Because when Lewis Theron gets away from, now it's Ishamael, but when he gets away from traveled with a capital T.
Yeah.
Now, men and women, they kind of travel differently, but it's distinct from how Rand followed Asmodean to Ruidian in the last book. That's called skimming.
Yeah.
That becomes an important distinction for later on. But what Avienda has rediscovered here is basically the instant portal to somewhere else, which is traveling. The female way.
The female, okay. So there's a gateway to a blizzard, and she runs off.
Don't the Forsaken also travel in the beginning of this book for their little meeting?
I think so.
Oh,
when they show up to talk to.
Yes. Yeah. So you would have it in a different way, but I mean, there's the nuances. They're meeting in time.
Mic problems again.
Yeah.
And Riyadh. Anyway, all I'm saying is
wow.
Magic.
We lost you, Dane.
Oh. Okay. I'll try and fix this. Give me a sec.
All right. Don't worry about it. So she runs off into the blizzard, and then he goes after her. She's naked. She just runs off naked into this blizzard. So he goes after her. I think she ends up in a lake. I think she falls and ends up in a frozen lake, and gets her. He manages to struggles to get her, picks her up, creates a little igloo or a snow home or something.
Yeah.
And strips down and warms her up. And then they do it. They do it.
Can you guys hear me now?
Yeah.
Yeah, we can hear you now.
All right, so I plug the mic directly into the camera rather than the fucking docking station that I get all this grief with.
So you want to finish your thought then?
What was I talking about?
Traveling versus
not
skimming.
Really.
All right.
Traveling, skimming, Tel'aran'rhiod. Like,
yeah, let's get to the banging.
So much
Come on,
nuance, but let's get to some fucking.
Yeah, that's where we're at. So yeah, awesome. They're in Igloo, and I think he's just like he's. I think he's just holding her because he pulls her out of the lake or something, and their lips she initiates, I think, if I remember correctly.
Yeah, but this is done tastefully.
Mm-hmm. I like that before he jumps in, after he like thinks about it rationally, like he starts a fire and then jumps in, like he has a thought where he has that moment where he's like, wait, get this stuff ready and then go get wet and then go get her wet.
Oh, okay. I'm not going to breathe.
6 of 10.
But he doesn't go into detail about the act itself. It just says
no. It's like it cuts to like a significant time later or whatever. What is it?
No, it's a literal fade to black.
Yes.
Yeah.
So no gratuitous Game of Thrones, Song of Ice and Fire type
it's the opposite. Right?
Yes. Yeah, no Asha Greyjoy screwing what was that dude in Deepwood Mott, that part?
Stop.
I think that
was fairly pornographic.
Yeah, yes it was.
He basically is lying next to her being like, I should have knocked, and like remarking how smooth her skin is. And then what is it? Like coming up with everything, and then she realizes you realize here it's like she was trying to run away from him because she saw, a future with him through the arches in Ruidian.
Yeah.
She was fighting against fate, and then this is where she decides, okay, she can't fight against it.
Well, it's also interesting
because considerable time later, 2 hours, maybe 3. There you go. That's the line. So instead of going into detail, you tastefully just like fade to black, like you said.
Well, it's also interesting because in her culture, she keeps saying that she's like dishonoring Elaine because you are Elaine's man, right? But like in her culture, it's totally okay to have multiple wives. So like she should be okay with it, but she's not, because she knows that Elaine is from a different culture, and also she's trying to fight fate.
I've always read that whole like Elaine excuse is kind of
an excuse,
being born an excuse, because she becomes friends with Egwene more than Elaine. And I mean, she even says like, I'm near sister to Egwene, and Egwene is near sister to Elaine, and that's why she's
right. Well, that's why like it comes off as like, oh, this sounds like an excuse, because like you of all people should be okay with it.
That being said, though, she does take it serious enough to do kind of what she does or what she offers to Elaine in book 7, but we're not going to spoil that here.
Yeah.
You guys keep talking about Avienda and Avienda's culture. Rand being like, okay, we did
Let's get married.
When do you want to get married?
It's literally my favorite moment from the books. Is Rand is such a prude. He's like, oh crap, I've dishonored you and your family. When I'll marry you in the spring.
We've got to do this.
And show Rand is just banging left and right.
Yeah.
With his fingers. And getting banged too, because I think we all kind of agree, right? That like episode 7, season 1, that was pegging.
Yeah,
right?
so apparently they have to wait a year So they can wait. They can wait to get married or something. 2 rivers.
That's how it works in the 2 rivers. Yeah.
Yeah. So
You have to be engaged for a year.
Yeah.
Okay. And you got to get like the parents' permission. I think that at least that's what they say here. I don't know. Yeah. I forget. I forget. Do we even meet Avienda's parents? Probably not.
Nope.
I don't think so.
Anyways, Avienda's having none of that. She had her role in the snow, but now it's time to get back, right?
Yeah. So apparently, they're in Shanchan. So they're in the island. So they're actually on that's the homeland, the island.
They're on the other side of the world.
So there's mountains and there's snow and blizzards, and so were they in the blight of Shanchan that was cleared out?
No, so not a spoiler, but there is no blight in Shanchan. And in part, you'll only really get to realize this in later books when there are Shanchan characters who believe that Trollocs and Shadowspawn are myths.
Okay.
So what that implies is that the Shanchan have never fought Trollocs in living memory or anything like that. So that necessitates there not being a blight connected to Shanchan.
I see. I was curious because I know that they cleared out the Shadow Spawn. So that's why I was curious. But yeah, it was cool. It was cool seeing Damani and Soldam, and except now that they Rand's like power levels this high now compared to the Great Hunt and everything. So I like how I forget. So like he tries to have Avienda free one of the Damani and she fails
because they don't want to be freed. Yeah.
Yeah.
But also it's hard to figure out.
Yeah. So like they're kind of waiting, and then they're being patrolled and everything from the air, and
what they have is basically a gateway which none of them have ever seen before. Right, and if the Damani are there and kind of able to see what's going on, they could maybe see some of the weave, but they wouldn't understand why it's still staying open. Because what's holding it open is Rand's blocking of the gateway, and then the other nuance is what happened on the other side of the gateway and why it looks how it does. Which at the end of this chapter realizes like Asmodean threw a fucking blanket over top of it.
So that no Guy Shine or
anybody
Arderized no one could see the door.
Or see through it or whatever it is. So it's this weird kind of anomaly. This is like a Star Trek Voyager episode for the first 3 seasons. Like
it's a Stargate.
2/3 of those episodes, some weird anomaly trying to figure out what fucking happened.
Yeah.
That's what's going on here, but Rand and Avienda are creeping up. Rand knows enough about the Shanchan to know that the Damani are the danger, right? Damani Soldam. I don't think Rand has worked out precisely what the whole dynamic is. That Soldam are those that can learn to channel. Damani are those with the spark. But he knows who the threat is. And kind of asks Avienda, it's like, how many can you take care of? Can you shield them before Because also, as soon as Avienda channels or embraces the source, the Damani will be able to sense her. They won't be able to sense Rand as far as he knows.
Yeah. So, trying to remember what else I took away from this. Is there anything new? Was there anything new learned about the Shanchan? I'm trying to remember.
You got a little bit of like their internal politics, like the not a lot. But like
Tower of the Ravens.
Like they started bickering with each other.
Just their worldview is basically like, hey, if you want to do good, just like come with me and I'll take you to the Empress and You'll be exalted amongst all others, except for the Empress. And
Yeah,
it's like,
I forget they execute like male channelers. They just directly execute them on sight, right? If I remember correctly.
Yep.
They're not gentle or anything like that.
Nope.
Say a Marath. What's a Marath Damane?
Marath means
Free
must be.
demonic.
What is
So
it?
Marath Damane means those who must be leashed. Damane just means the leashed ones. So Marath is like a verb of must be.
I see.
Free range dominate.
Free range demonic.
Free range.
Dominate. Like thinking like it's Latin.
Marath Damane is the Seanchan word for Aes Sedai in the
usually
Western land. It's
It's usually the ones that haven't been captured yet. Yeah.
Oh, I see.
And once they're captured, they just call them demonic.
Okay.
But it's applied indiscriminately. So they apply it to Avienda here, right? Because she's a woman who can channel that doesn't have a leash on her.
Yep.
Yeah.
We all
So
know women deserve leashes.
You know it.
So Rand, being the stand-up guy that he is, uses he has a short window to untie the flows that are binding the Seanchan. So by the time, I think that he does it right before they jump into, they jump back in, and then one of the spears, one of the Seanchan soldiers, I think, tries to drive a spear into the gateway. And it gets cut off, I believe. And Rand, what's funny is Rand keeps this. Rand keeps this as a reminder that the Seanchan they're coming, everything. And I've especially noticed this in the chapters leading up to the Battle of Kyrian. So, but yeah,
it's because he saw Game of Thrones season 8, and he doesn't want to just forget about the Iron Fleet.
No, man, but like he makes it into the artwork.
He does.
Sorta
He
just
like
forget.
that thing, and he's holding it like with that main cover.
So
Oh,
on,
that one,
on the
yeah.
on the Path of Daggers cover, he's actually holding that spear tip as a scepter.
Oh, nice. So okay. So he does. So that does stay significant later in the series. Okay.
It's more of a lordly thing. He gestures with it, threatens people with it, establishes dominance with it, less so than he fights with it or anything.
Oh,
yeah,
okay.
there's nothing magical about it. It's just a spear, but it's like, all right, he turns it into what becomes known as the Dragon Scepter.
The Dragon Scepter. Okay, makes sense.
And that has a cool name. Like,
yes, that is pretty cool.
And there was one other thing.
It's probably more of a memento, like, hey, I just got laid.
There's one other thing that is,
but it's just the tip.
Yeah.
He didn't take her pants with her. He took her spear.
There's one other thing.
Come on, it makes sense when you think about it. Sorry,
there's one other thing I haven't. I'm curious, and I don't know if this is going to require further reading, but there's the way this chapter ends. It ends with, "Hey, we have 2 hours. Can you teach me how Lanfear sliced the weavings really easily?" So I'm curious if anything like that, if anything's going to pan out from that.
Well,
from that little conversation.
In part, it's like Rand is realizing, like, okay, what should he know? What hasn't he learned? Like, when stuff like manifests on him and he does stuff with instinct, like blocking the gateways. Like at this point, Rand doesn't even know how to travel yet himself, right? He's still figuring that kind of thing, those kinds of things out. When it prompts kind of with Asmodean, it's basically like, all right, now you're going to teach me 2 things for everything that I don't ask, kind of shit. And you better try really, really hard. So
I love their relationship so much. It's so fun.
And it's fun because we're what book are we reading?
Shadow Rising.
Shadow Rising, and we're just at the part where Lanfear's like basically setting all of this up. So you need to learn stuff, Rand.
But honestly, the best part of this chapter, in my view, the short spear, is that when Rand and Avienda come back, And then Asmodean relates how like he successfully managed to keep all the maidens out of the house of the Winespring brothers, but all the maidens kind of got in their head exactly what was going on. And then
even though it wasn't what was going on, but it was.
But it was going on just on the other side of the world, outside of earshot. But all the maidens were basically hooting and hollering and giving Avienda encouragement.
They're the best wingmen.
And suggestions of what she would do, what she should do. That's the funniest part of this chapter, in my mind.
Yeah,
absolutely. That's so fucking funny.
Because remember, the reason why Avienda reacted the way she did is she is still viewing everything in the rubric of Aiel culture, and arranging to be seen naked by someone you have interest in is a thing that these women do. That's even advice or whatever. That's I think or whatever might be given to Egwene. Like, oh, if you like him, why don't you just like arrange for him to see you when you're bathing or going to a sweat tent or something like that, so he could see your legs or whatnot. It's like in their culture that this is kind of, if a woman is interested in a man and wants them to like give them a regard gift, although Rand's apparently already done that, etc. What Avienda has done here at the start of the Far Snows is she was just naked. She was doing stuff. Rand walked in on her, and then she's immediately embarrassed because she thinks, oh shit, he's going to think that I did this according to our culture because I'm interested in him. And even though I am, that's the opposite of what I'm trying to do, and I need to get away from here.
But it's funny because he wouldn't know that.
Side of the world.
He wouldn't know that about the culture, but she's freaking out about it. Yeah.
It's fun.
And Brian here is just glazing over, just being like, "Oh, thanks for that. I enjoy it tremendously."
Rand straight up gave her flowers though, so like he's going to like third base, like.
Yeah. Rand straight up gave her flowers to put in a bridal wreath that were prickly to accentuate her nature as being prickly.
They're still flowers.
You never know what's going on with that.
Was it? I forgot. Was it in this chapter? Or was it later? I'm trying to remember.
What?
Him giving her flowers.
Oh, that was on like part 1 of this whole stream when you completely glazed over.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
I completely.
Sagade blossoms. Yeah.
Sagade blossoms. Yeah. Exactly. All right. So. All right. Anything else? Anything else from this? Anything else from these block? Because you guys didn't warn me. There's next 8 chapters are all Nynaeve in Elaine.
Yeah, but she's forced to show her legs, so it's worth it.
Yeah,
she gets put in her place the whole time.
A little too much cleavage.
Like, oh my god, help me! Please don't throw knives at me! Oh my god!
She is such a wuss.
There was the action part of this I actually really enjoyed. There was parts I really felt so I nearly cried reading some of this, especially pertaining to Birgitte.
Wow,
that really got me. So Trip, if you're here,
that bored?
I feel you.
Oh wait. No, okay. So you were.
That was not that was great.
Okay.
I thought that was I thought that was great because of how well it was set up earlier in this book. So
yeah, the beginning of Birgitte's great.
But yeah, so yeah, they're in the circus, and Nynaeve is basically target practice, kind of. She's holding pears. She has a pear on her head, and she's got pears on her arms.
William Tell.
Yeah, and
I thought this part was funny because she's so like, oh my god, I don't want to wear this dress, all this stuff. But then it's like there's all the times when they're in Tel'aran'rhiod, and then she just randomly changes some like low cut to Monty.
Anytime she thinks of lamb, she goes way worse.
Yep. I love,
So-
I love this
Completely
book
fine
stuff.
with
She's in
wearing slutty
lingerie.
dresses in her own fantasy, but if she has to wear it in the real world, it's like a worse sentence than, or a bigger concern than actually getting stabbed by a thrown dagger. And what I mean here, Brian, is like this is the humor you have to see once you've gained some perspective on the story. Like it might not be funny the first time you read through it, but it's very funny on rereads.
And it gets more funny as they go deeper into Teleranmir, because I don't remember how many times that's happened, because she just kind of like randomly just changes into it, and then she realizes, and then she changes back, and she's all embarrassed. It's kind of fun.
Yeah, I've taken note. I've taken note of that. So,
But
yeah,
it's
she's
also,
just.
It's also good world building though, because everyone from the Two Rivers are prudes.
Mm-hmm.
They're like Rand even has that that part where he says, yeah, like they beat the crap out of that one guy when they found out he was sleeping with his fiance, and called off the marriage.
No, they made them get married, didn't they? They got spanked
Made
and
them,
they had to get married.
made
the
them
next
get
day.
married, but they couldn't sit down for like the first 3 weeks of their marriage or something like that.
See, and in the show, when it gets to that part, they're gonna be like, "Yeah, you couldn't sit down for the first weeks of his marriage because they kept pegging each other." You know?
Yeah. We're getting married. Come on, that's like horrible.
In the show, it's like, oh, let's not go there.
No. Good things.
It's
only.
just it makes me angry how blatantly they just ignore the world building. You know?
No, it's ignore and desecrate, because there is one
on
thing
purpose.
that
On purpose. Yeah.
one thing that Robert Jordan actually gave a shit about as far as fanfic goes.
Yep,
and
I got the quote.
Kind of shit. Yeah, you played a lot, and I appreciate that. But I mean, like, yeah.
I do it in the Liam Neeson voice, because he says, "I'll hunt you down. I'll find you."
Do
You
it.
don't
Say
know
it.
who
Say
I
it.
am. What?
Go,
Yeah.
Tegmans. Recite the line.
Okay. Give me a second.
In your best Liam Neeson impersonation. You don't know who I am, but I have a special set of skills.
A very
Skills
specific
that make
set
me
of
that make me a nightmare for people like you.
I don't know if I can do a Liam Neeson voice.
You absolutely can. All you have to do is
Just
whisper.
channel it. Just oh, that's a good point. Just think you're Irish and whisper.
Where's the? I had it up and then I.
Never mind.
Sorry,
Let's keep going.
Yeah, we're not talking about this. I just saw Dune, and that I have feelings.
I like reading erotica sometimes, but if you write erotica using my characters and post it, I will find you, and I will come down on you like the hammer of God. I found some very raunchy and very badly written examples of that, and I don't like it a bit.
Wow. Nice.
Outstanding.
Oh,
First circus arc. Let's
Yeah.
go.
All right, where we go? So we have Eludra and her fire sticks.
Yeah,
And
matches.
Nynaeve is holding
And now
it.
I was fucking pissed off that they all had matches in the very first episode of the show.
Mm.
There's a plot point later. I really love Eludra too. She's a cool character, and I don't think she gets enough love. And man, it's like the stuff that
we're not going to
happens.
get a Lutra in the show. They basically used
That's
the
good.
matches like to light fucking lanterns in the first episode.
it's
Gunpowder, whatever. It's everywhere. Like
Your assumption that they're going to remember they did that is faith misplaced.
fuck
Yeah.
you, Alex.
Right.
Yeah, he is right. They're probably going to put it in anyway and be like, wait.
No, because they made Eludrin as like Leandrin's son. So they're not going to have Eludra.
Right, I forgot about that. Eludrin. Oof.
Yeah, so what's cool about I like this part because it's like there's certain things that there's a technological like advancement that goes through the novels, and as you read it, Brian, you'll start seeing it, and they start asking questions about certain things and the ramifications of technology. That is, I think, is pretty interesting. But
Okay.
you get it with this part where they're obviously trying to make matches.
Yeah. And apparently Galad's around too, so Galad caught up with him.
Yeah. God. God.
Yeah.
Galad dominates.
So Samara's like this big city. I'm taking it right in what this is it like the capital, Gildon? Yeah, I think it is capital.
Is it
Yeah.
Gildon or is it Amadisia? I think it's Amadisia.
Is it? Oh, because that's where they meet the prophet later.
Yep.
So, but yeah, so yeah, apparently Nynaeve got smacked by Sarandon, and so she got this black eye now. So like Nynaeve has been really Nynaeve's been having a lot of problems lately.
Yeah, Nynaeve's been going through it.
So yeah, so I think I forget exactly how that happened. She was trying to demand more answers about Damani and Sildam or something, and it just happened, which is funny because I think the last time we saw them, she was like kneeling and bowing to Nynaeve and Elaine, or maybe it was just Elaine. I don't remember. Didn't the Sarandon kneel to them and everything? Dane down where Dane went. Never mind.
Sorry guys, I was just popping out to start the oven for dinner because it's like late. But yeah, Johanna is the capital of Gildon. Amador is the capital of Amadisia. This is just a border town, so it's kind of a lot of the pattern and coincidence weaving these characters together. The whole thing with Sarandon, it's just basically, was it her that knocked the shit out of Nynaeve, or was it someone else who got jealous because Nynaeve was acting all like slutty with her dress and whatnot, and the chick who used to get all the attention at the traveling circus is now jealous of her?
Oh no, Nynaeve claims it was Sarandon hit her when she wasn't looking. So this is, oh yeah. So yeah, she was hit by. Okay, now I remember now. She was hit by somebody. She has this knack for lying or not admitting the truth.
Yeah,
when she's at fault.
Yeah. So like for instance, like the whole thing with them being caught by what's her name with the what was the tea?
Rhonda McCura with the fork root tea, and she lied to Egwene about. Oh, of course I knew what she was trying to do. This fork root tea don't get by me.
Yeah.
Now she straight up like lied on that and lost the moral high ground. Book 5 is basically Nynaeve not functioning properly as a person because what she's obviously missing is a man.
I mean, like she just can't go on being the bitchy Nynaeve that she starts off as and all that. It's all catching up to her.
She is that too, but this is Nynaeve's arc.
Yeah,
and for a lot of readers, Book 5 is frustrating in large part because of Nynaeve, but also for a lot of readers, Nynaeve becomes one of their favorite characters because she gets so much better in later books when the main theme of the whole fucking series comes together and she gets her man, and them as a tandem working together basically are the heroes.
So at this point, I know
she's in the comments as the answer.
Separate fights. Yeah, there was the one where she got chased around the camp with the willow switch.
Yeah. Oh. But what was I going to say? But like, so besides Lan, Nynaeve's never really been with. She's never had a boyfriend or any type of deal. So okay.
I mean, she's like, it's like her sexual frustration and the frustration with her life, and she's
in her mid-20s, if I remember correctly.
She's
So
about 25 or 26 at this point.
Okay, so
have you met Nynaeve? I mean, you have to be really crazy to put up with that personality.
Oh gosh.
Yeah, you got to be
crazy.
You got to be a fucking like king of a country and having like dealt with Moraine for 20 years in order to put up with that shit.
Yeah. So, but yeah, so I'm trying to think. I don't think there's really anything else from this particular chapter, if I remember correctly. Like, Apparently, Elaine is prepping for her.
Oh, this is the part where she like tries. She's like, "Oh yeah, I can make an Adam too, right?" And then we get that.
Yeah.
Hey, somebody can make Terangriel again.
Yeah, it's mostly all just build up for the Brigida stuff.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, in which I actually enjoyed this one, this Brigida, this chapter where they go into they once again go back into Teleron Riyadh, and Brigida shows up, and apparently they're like, "Hey, I found Meganian." So Nynaeve's like, let's spy on Meganian. So we see Meganian they're spying on her, spying on the other Forsaken, the ones, the ones that we see earlier. And apparently Samael's not happy about the arrangement that they're dealing with, and he's having a little hissy fit about that, and they're just like, the fuck, bro. So I don't remember exactly what the detail was. Oh yeah, they're supposed to link or something.
Yeah, so this chapter has a bunch of funny moments. This one is Grendel, Lanfear, and Robin all agreeing, okay, we're going to use Samael as bait. And when Rand is busy killing Samael, the three of us are going to run in and get him. And Samael going, the fuck, bro? No.
Well, it's a key plot point to remember the Forsaken alliance and kind of dynamics going forward. So just note who's in a supposed alliance here, right? It's Grendel, Lanfear, it's Samael, and it's Robin. So far, the only one that's kind of exposed as for like who knows who is that Samael is an Ilian. And we've seen attacks going at Rand kind of supposedly from Samael, right?
Yeah, Samael and the Golden Bees, that's his band.
Right. So you know that these are in cahoots together, but the other Forsaken are apparently not in cahoots. So just memory hold that and keep that kind of in mind, because it has bearing on later events and certain plot points of like, all right, you have to kind of note which of the Forsaken that are left are plotting with each other and which ones are going alone or which ones are in a separate kind of alliance.
Okay.
So it's this power block seems kind of interesting.
Yeah.
Okay.
So I always remember it as Team Horny versus Team Not Horny.
No, that's really good. That's very, very accurate.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So
unironically, I actually do think there's some merit to it, that there is sort of the four of them are in it for material pleasure. And so they kind of work together better because they're more similar. Whereas the other ones are a combination of autistic and nuts. And so it's,
Moghedien is kind of the reason why she's spying on the other four is because Moghedien's kind of going it alone. But it also kind of like the other block, and it's not a spoiler, but it'll get revealed. Demandred, Nasana, and Semiraj are also in kind of like a tripartite block. So there's a block of 4 here, and there's a block of 3 elsewhere. So that's 7 of them.
Which kind of makes sense because that group of people is like infiltrating the big institutions, and I don't want to give anything away, but
they've got their own plots. They're kind of more behind the scenes. And then Moghedien's like a one-off, and Asmodean is obviously off, and the other Forsaken are all dead. Right? There's only 9 of them at this point, I believe.
Yep. Lanfear is kind of on her own too, like jumping in and out of alliances, you know.
So the 4 blocks are Team Horny, Team Not Horny, the individuals, and On Fire. So
yeah,
those are your 4.
Mostly dead.
Mostly dead.
Yeah. But also you missed
and turned into a girl.
Oh, that's later.
Oh, sorry.
That's like prologue next book later.
So, I'll be honest. Like I was expecting nothing. I mean, I wasn't expecting any action to happen. I was expecting, they spy on her. Maybe that meeting ends, and then we might hear maybe maybe Megiddian talks to herself. She reveals something, and then they go back, have a little discussion about it, and that's it. So when Megiddian catches them and starts, and attacks them, I was actually kind of
fucking terrifying.
Yes, I was actually surprised. It took me by surprise, to be honest. And so and Brigida was knocked off, and Nynaeve is being held by Megiddian. Megiddian's just like, I want to teach you to scream. I forget how they put it. I wanted to teach you how to beg, or something.
Yeah, like I think she threatens to turn her into a horse.
Yeah, I'll turn you into a horse. So every time you fall asleep, you'll turn into a horse. And I'll ride you around. You'll be my little pony. Yeah.
Oh, that's a terrible fate.
What a weird threat, Yeah,
Megiddian is fucking nuts.
Well, it's scarier too because Nynaeve is more powerful in the one power than she is, and so she lost the first fight in the real world, but now she's in the dream world, and Megiddian knows that crap, and is just raking her over the coals.
Here's an idea, a question for you guys. So you go into Tel'aran'rhiod, right? Whatever, it's basically your mind control game. So does your power levels matter that much? If you could just think that you could do more things than you actually could?
Not as much, because as you'll find out by the end of the series, it's just a weave.
Yeah, it's just a weave. I kind of hated that, and I wondered if that was a Sanderson thing, or.
Yes,
it kind of makes sense though, because when you channel in the dream world, it's not like real channeling.
Yeah,
only spirit is supposed to actually be what can be affected in the dream world, but it has a lot more to do with the mental fortitude. There are Aiel dreamwalkers that can't channel at all, so it's a different set of skills, and it has more to do kind of with your mental strength.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking.
And there are certain characters that are particularly strong in this way. Lanfear and Moghedien among the Forsaken are the most highly rated as Tel'aran'rhiod users, but that's the difference that's showing here. Is basically Nynaeve is, in terms of raw power, stronger than Moghedien when she's angry, but when in Tel'aran'rhiod, you don't want to mess with someone who's practiced and knows.
And also, she's not in a healthy mental state right now, anyway.
Yes.
Yeah. I always thought this was the crisis moment for Nynaeve, because this is I could die, and then somebody almost died because I think she thinks Bridget died.
This is Nynaeve's big crisis moment. And that's what precipitates the later chapters.
It's
she only gets out of this. Exactly. This is Nynaeve getting driven to her bottom. So Alan's right, completely right.
Yeah, I mean, Brigida basically shoots an arrow at Moghedien, hits her, and then basically holds her off, and then they vanish or something. I'm trying to remember how exactly it plays out.
Well, Moghedien channels her out of the dream world into. How does that work?
Pattern.
She pulls her from the pattern. Yeah,
we don't necessarily know the mechanics behind it, but because Brigitte injures Moghedien so much, Moghedien has to flee, and that's what lets Nynaeve escape. And then it just so happens that, as we find out in the next chapter, Brigitte got ripped into the real world.
Yep.
So she's no longer a hero of the Horn.
Oh, I see.
We don't know that.
They theorize that could be
she's
the case.
no longer.
So if she died in the real world, lived a normal
That's
life.
what she's scared has happened. She's
Would she be part of the wheel again? Would she be part of the pattern again?
She doesn't know.
They don't know.
Okay, this is not a read and find out. Like, it's something that's never answered.
Yeah, it's definitely a read and find out. But the stakes here is she got ripped, like, from the dream world. She broke so many of the rules of being a soul bound to the wheel, a soul that got tied to the Horn of Valir. She broke all those precepts, and now she's a full-grown woman ripped into the real world again. Does anything still hold? And more for her is like Gadel Kane, who's like,
Yes.
she's one half of a coin, right? Like that's her whole thing. It's like her
I
and
know.
Gadel. And
I
all
was so sad this part reading about her.
Yeah.
Like, did she die? Is she ever gonna be Gadel Kane again? And I was like,
Yeah.
it's so sad. And it's like she wasn't even like that big of a character yet. And just I remember reading this as I went along, and that like whole episode made me really upset. And I was mad that like Nynaeve couldn't do anything, and I was just like get over herself, kind of a thing. And yeah.
Mhm. Yep. So you find more about Brigitte as you read.
Yeah, I mean, yes, just just her reflecting, like, hey, I mean, I'm going to be old. I'm going to be old enough to be his mother. I won't be, I think the 10-year gap, which is what they usually are, and all that. And it's just, it's like
10-year gap's okay.
I gotta go.
Excuse me.
I'll be back in a little bit.
Cool. Okay.
Yeah, also a cool chat comment from WWG Ridiculously Cringed. I bought The Wheel of Time in 1997, read all the books, got the first edition hardbacks when they came out. Never thought anyone would do live streams about this.
Oh.
Well, welcome. We're a bunch of nerds, and that's really awesome. You have the first editions. I'm so excited because I have everything now except the Sanderson books for my collection, and I've been collecting them at used bookstores and kind of, it's a great
the hardcovers.
Not the hardcovers. I found them as soft covers, and I've been just going to a bunch of different used bookstores, like in different like states and cities that I go to, and I'm like, if I can find it at a used bookstore, if I can find it at a free library, I'm gonna take it, and that's how I built my collection.
But yeah, thank you, WWG, for joining us. This is a series. This is a series of streams I've been doing for over a year now. So starting with the very first book, The Eye of the World. This is my first ever read through in the Wheel of Time. So this is my first time reading Fires of Heaven right now. So, but yeah, if you want to check out, I have a playlist. I'll have to link it, or maybe someone can link my playlist of all my Wheel of Time streams that we've covered every chapter of every book so far. So yeah, and they're all linked. They're all linked together if you watch them. So, but thank you for being here. And we got Prophet. What's up, Prophet? He's at work, so he can't join us. All right. So
he works in a poop plant. I was going to ask him.
He does indeed.
Yeah. So all right. But yeah, that all that stuff with her and Gadel Kane kind of really broke my heart after that. So
absolutely.
But the chapter doesn't end with them escaping Meganian. So apparently we get another Leandrin section right here, and this one was was terrifying too. You feel bad for Leandrin.
It's terrifying, but also a little bit nice. You're like,
I mean, it's Leandrin.
It's Leandrin, so you're like, okay, that's a little rough, but it's Leandrin.
Yeah, that's true. So if I remember correctly, I think Leandrin. So Meganian comes back with the wound, and she has I forget which one, which sister heal her, and Leandrin I think uses this as an opportunity to try and attack her, and it fails.
Yeah, my kids are currently dangling on the top bunk of the bunk beds.
Oh my god,
that's awesome. No, this is very much the Game of Thrones or The Wire, whichever one you pull it from. When you go for the king, you better not miss. And Leandrin went for Moghedien thinking she was wounded, and Mogideon wasn't that wounded.
But also waited until after she was healed.
Yes, she's also not good at this.
Yeah.
So WWG, we're on chapter 34 of Fires of Heaven.
Yeah.
I don't know if that helps you.
And this stream goes to 49 or something?
46.
46. So, but yeah. So I forget what happens to her. She gets shielded.
Yeah.
She gets a shielded and tied off shield. And she's like, "Oh, you're never going to be able to channel unless I allow it or something like that." And then I forget do they leave her there? They leave her at this place to be under the mercy of the owners or something of the house that they're in.
Yeah.
And yeah, it just I like how it ends with her just screaming and all that. So that would have been interesting to see on TV, but of course they would never do that.
Yeah, it's interesting how they kind of go along and you kind of get sort of used to, okay, the main characters think they can kind of handle the Forsaken and they learn stuff and they seem to be kind of cocky, and then it's like something really bad happens and you're like, oh my God, and you just, these are awful people. Or even when you start thinking, I can maybe like some of these Forsaken characters, you're like, okay, no, these people are awful.
Well, and they've also been practicing their craft for centuries, so they just know things that it would be impossible for anyone else to even theorize about existing, you know?
Yeah.
Oh yeah, Cringe, this is totally a book club. Like, Nerdportal does these every Sunday, pretty much.
You've been crushing Fires of Heaven.
Yeah, I wanted to get this one and then I want to get to Lord of Chaos and then probably take a break after that. So, but yeah, anything else about 34, chapter 34 that we didn't cover?
Yes,
pretty much
the highlight of the chapter. Tom and Julian avoiding Nynaeve's cooking at all costs.
Oh yes. and loving Egwene's cooking too.
Wow.
Yeah. All right, that's there we go. That's the end of 34.
So we talked a little bit of 35. So basically Brigitte, Brigitte's in the real world now. They can't they can't heal her. They don't know what's wrong with her. So what does Elaine do? Elaine bonds her. So now she's Brigitte is now Elaine's warder, which I was like, really?
Okay,
I love Elaine. She's a great character.
Where's Dane? He's like the
hate
Elaine simp of the
I love Brigitte though.
Yeah, I do love Brigitte. Yeah,
I just love that she's always just more just tinkering and like, hey, I found out this thing, and I watched someone do a bonding, and so that seems like appropriate now. I don't know. I love her character.
She's just kind of like a hot mess, and we all kind of love her.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't. She's not my favorite character, but I don't hate her. Like, well.
Yeah, and I just love how like Nynaeve is just so she just feels so guilty about all this.
God,
she like this is like it's insane. Like she's just
Elaine is the best character.
Oh, did you catch that? Good. I was hoping you would. So you guys.
I came back. I put the headphones on first. Had to do some other stuff, so I heard that. But no. Elaine, she is headstrong. She's adventurous. She keeps that from the beginning. She likes to learn new swear words, which is like from the beginning a thing with her, which really amplifies in book 7. It's great, but
she's my type of woman.
Nothing's working with Brigitte. Right?
3 of her redeeming qualities.
There's nothing that anyone can do. Like healing's not working, and she's at least got the mindset being like, well, a warder can survive things that other people can't survive. A warder is granted all these benefits. Fuck it. What if I apply the bond and like, yeah, I know I saw it and I can kind of, it's just a sign of her ability. And this this is also for Egwene and Nynaeve. If you haven't noticed yet, these girls, they see a weave once and they're able to copy it. That's a sign of their high strength and their high ability. She saw a water bond being done once.
Yeah.
She memorized the weave, knows how to do it. But that's why she bonds.
But
Brigitte.
also had the smarts to realize that that's something that might help in this situation where nothing else is working.
Well, it's like throw something at it, but for plot reasons more than she was so smart is probably why it actually worked. But we're dealing with magic here. How she got ripped out of Teleran Riyadh, we don't know. How she survives now with a water bond that was not known in the Age of Legends. That's a nice kind of like mystical solution to it all anyways.
Yeah, I like this part.
But I mean, up until this point, we didn't know that the water bond even worked on women anyways. Like it hadn't been done before.
But I like this part because this is the really best. This is like the best Evelyn in this whole story arc. You get her like really like taking care of people and being she's very resourceful, and when she has to do something, she doesn't necessarily go into the like nose in her hair thing that she does before and in the later chapter. Like this is the best part of her story, I think, in this part of it.
But keep in mind the whole thing why they're hiding in this frickin' circus to begin with is because she's convinced that Galad is such a fucking asshole that he would turn over his stepsister to, White Cloak questioners and have her tortured, which just like means in her mind she's deranged on that point at the very least.
Yeah, so man, Elaine does a lot of things that annoy the shit out of me, but she mostly does them because she's stupid, and it's not her fault. She got her mother's dumb fuck genes.
She drank the dumb fuck juice.
She got her mother's dump truck genes.
I do.
God.
I'm not going down the the whole thing, but we're
Wow.
Marquise is a nice lady.
Marquise is a bimbo.
Lady. Anyway.
Anyways, I gotta go see if my pizza's burning, but go on.
Okay.
Yeah. I had a steak earlier. I had a steak earlier, so yeah.
You know what I thought was really interesting about us? I'm trying to. We haven't got here in a re-listen, but it says something about how she remembers her past lives, and I'm thinking that's interesting. And when I was reading this the first time, I kept thinking about Rand, and this is where I thought, like, I decided, I think, concretely that Rand isn't crazy and the things that he's hearing is legit, because here is another example of somebody remembering their past lives. So that is a thing that could happen in this world.
Yeah.
This is done quite deliberately at this point in the story, that Brigitte can remember past lives and when she went by different names than Brigitte and all the time she's been spun out. But as it goes through, Brian, her memories fade. So she remembers less and less of her being Brigitte the hero.
As
time goes by, it's actually a kind of a semi-tragic thing.
Yeah.
Okay.
But in my view, narratively, this is done deliberately in order to, I wouldn't say misdirect the reader, but it throws up kind of a question, because Rand at this point is already beginning to have memories of being Lewis Theron.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So is that Brigitte syndrome, or is that the taint on the one power?
No, I think it's
it's meant to be ambiguous.
Yeah. But it's also like a wheel thing that, we talked about people being Taviran at certain times and their Taviranness is more. So she needed to remember more. And as she stayed there longer and longer, it's like her past memories weren't so important because she had like a mission to do.
And we also have to bear in mind, Matt has got memories as well.
Matt does too. So that's three great.
Not just from Ruidian. He had memories before that, right? How was he speaking the old tongue in Tar Valon when he got healed? How is he, doing the battle cry in even the first book?
Yeah, and then the other thing is
Tom comes out and say this is like people can be reborn, people can remember things from past lives, and we shouldn't talk about it.
Yeah, and that was another funny thing with Matt is when we were re-listening to it is that we realized that he goes through this like what happened to me, why can't I remember, and it's like they had to clear out a bunch of his memories to give him new ones, but that's sort of beside the point. But I thought that was interesting. But anyway, carry on.
So, figure I'd skip ahead to chapter 36. I mean, pretty much covered everything, didn't we? Didn't we cover? I mean, we talked about, Brigida.
Yeah, and Brigida joins the circus.
Yeah, Brigida joins the circus.
I just love how she wants to wear a red dress too.
I like how Brigida responds. Like, I like how she responds the way Nynaeve is, like, grumbling about having to wear that red dress and everything. She's like, "Why? Why? What's wrong with your body? Or why aren't you proud of your body?"
I know, right?
Like
She's like, "Why are you such a prude? Like, it's a nice dress. You look cute."
Want it.
So yeah. So I thought that was funny, and it just I don't remember if it's this chapter or later.
Oh yeah, finally Trip comes. Yay!
Trip made it.
Yay, Trip! Hi, Trip.
Hi, Trip. So.
Speak of the devil.
Yeah.
God is the best girl.
She is. Like, let's be real.
Yeah.
It's because she acts the most like a dude.
Yeah, exactly. You're not wrong.
She's a Tom girl, but she's also hottie.
Yeah, so is Min. Min is also a Tom girl, and she doesn't get involved.
Brian, there's a line in a later book when like Matt and Brigida have like a drink off. They basically spend the whole night drinking wine. And the next night, Brigitta's like, "That man must have a hollow leg with a hole at the bottom."
Kind of like
Matt drank her under the table. It was fucking awesome.
Wow.
Yep.
All right.
Speaking of elite Brigida moments, Luca is like, "You want to be a clown?" And she's like, "No, I'm an archer." She's like, "Bet." So she and Luca do the shoot off, and
Tom bother,
and she basically throws away like all of his arrows except for like 3 that might do it, and then she like afterwards grumbles about how his bow is a piece of shit.
Yep,
and she was still able to like split arrows for 100 paces. It's awesome.
Yep, and because of that, Tom gets benched.
And what's funny is they call her Brigida. I think they call her Brigida.
Or they want to. Yeah.
And she's like, "Don't call me." She's like, "Don't call me that. Call me this or something."
Call me Mary, and because like she's also in keeping with like they're still hiding from Moghedien, right?
Yeah.
So she has to dye her hair, and
Moghedien knows that they're in a circus.
Yeah, because they
come out with an act saying Brigida is right here. Come see the legend of
Yeah.
But did you guys catch like the funniest joke out of all of this? It's like Moghedien knows they're in a circus, but apparently there's like 11 fucking traveling menageries around this one city at this time. The pattern has arranged that every circus on Randland has basically converged on this one city.
It's pretty great.
It's like hookers in the Super Bowl.
It's worse.
Oh wow.
That's funny. Yeah, I like that. The circus. It just also kind of reiterated how freaking cool it would have been to like run away with the circus. Like, let's go.
Yes, this circus arc is fun.
So is there any punishment or if an accepted does a bonding with someone or
yes.
What's the is it
stealing that gets hinted at here. That gets hinted at here being I think it's relayed.
Yeah, well, they told the story.
This chapter, they tell the story of like someone who is basically up for full Aes Sedai the next day, couldn't wait for it, bonded someone
because she thought someone else was going to take him as a warder, so she bonded him early, and then she gets forced to,
just to give up the bond. She gets like another year or so as accepted, and then when she
gets assigned her warder,
she gets told to bond a different guy, and then it just so happens it's just like, oh well, that's what you remember, Brigida, but I remember these two Warder and Aes Sedai becoming great heroes
and lovers
and having like a great love story too.
Yeah.
So what the fuck? So, anyways, Elaine could be in a lot of trouble, but she has also been posing as a full Aes Sedai for like 2 books. Same with Nynaeve and same with Egwene. So they're all in a world of shit.
Yep.
If they ever get caught.
Hi, Fitzy.
Yeah,
So trying to remember where we left off, or I'm trying to. It's all circus. It's all mishmash.
What
of
a lot of
circus
people
and
remember
circus.
from this is like a lot of people don't like the circus part.
I like the circus,
I like the circus too. I like it.
but a lot of people don't. You're right.
Hi. Oh,
Man.
this is the best chapter, Dean. Elaine gets tight pants.
I know. That's why I like the circus.
Do you think she has a dump truck like man or no?
They would have
She
been
does.
mentioned.
I think she has legs like a queen.
Do you
That's
think
what
she
I
has
think.
well-turned calves?
That's for dudes. I think
That's
she's
for
got
dudes?
fucking legs like a queen.
She's got
Not like
legs for
Queen
days.
Elizabeth. I'm like,
Princess Di?
Egwene
no,
has thunder thighs confirmed.
Princess Grace?
no, yeah,
That's
that's
hot.
right.
Yeah, don't like
But
it. We
like
swear to
Princess
God,
of
hot.
Monaco was never going to be a queen, but like Uno apparently liked to suck dick, so whatever.
But yeah,
So
so
concerned.
I hate to keep bringing up the show, but man, the books have so many girl boss moments.
I know, right?
Like you didn't need to add more in the show.
No, what the show fundamentally forgot, and it's not just the show, but it's modern Hollywood. It's exactly like I drunkenly stated last time. For a character to be compelling, they need to have a want, a need, and a flaw.
Yeah.
They have to have a want that drives their motivation early on. They have to have a need, which is their realization, which culminates in their arc. And that usually involves their character flaw, which they overcome.
Yeah.
But there's so much trepidation about showing any female flawed character right now that you end up with Rey Skywalker Palpatine, who does not have any of that.
Yeah.
She's not flawed. Her want and her need, like I don't even know if
There's
she
no
fucking
growth
needed
there.
any. She's the worst character because she's the best character from the start. Egwene in the show is the worst character because she's the bestest at everything from the start. What does Egwene in the show want?
Apparently to be an Aes Sedai.
What is she? But what's her flaw? That everyone loves her too much?
She's
Fuck off.
she's
She's
too
selfish and
passionate.
She gets jealous.
It's like, you know, when in a job interview when they ask you what your flaw is and you use it as an excuse to
I'm
give
a
yourself
perfectionist.
I'm just too perfect.
Quite
Exactly.
literally.
I care too much. I work too hard.
I care too.
What's your flaw? I give 110%. That's my flaw. That's the kind of fucking shit. But the thing is, at the end of the day, those are not compelling stories because they don't overcome anything.
Yeah.
But that's what we're dealt with. What the great part is of Wheel of Time is every character has a fucking flaw. Some of them, it's like an all-encompassing flaw. But
Yep.
anyways, I forget what led us down this road, but
Girl boss. That was
girl
me.
bosses.
I was yeah.
Egwene is a tremendously flawed character. I don't think she overcomes it by the end. Elaine, I appreciate her, but Elaine is a very flawed character, right?
Yep.
She gets thousands of people killed before the end of this whole fucking shit. She can't realize it. Nynaeve is a flawed character. I think Nynaeve, more than any female character in the series, overcomes it.
Yes.
But she overcomes it by embracing what is the central theme of the whole series, right? It's her and Lan get together ultimately. Sorry, Brian, spoilers, but yeah, that was going to happen.
Yeah, I kind of figured that.
But Nynaeve becomes better once she is working with Lan. and it's a good thing to see. And it's everyone's kind of like favorite, but that's an arc, right? If you don't have a flaw to overcome, if you don't have going from a want to a need, you don't have a satisfying arc.
Yeah. And you could even say Elaine has an arc, and she goes from being like the friend to these people to having to become a queen, where she starts choosing her duty over her friendships.
It's a feature.
I agree. Yeah, that's
Elaine's character arc looks like one of those Hot Wheels tracks.
Yeah.
Straight down.
Straight
Well, I think it's like the bell curve. Like, let's be real, because this is her at like the peak of the bell curve now, and then it just goes.
Let's not spoil of all the main characters that you get. I think Nynaeve is the most satisfying. Nynaeve is the most satisfying.
Yeah.
Give me a second.
I do have to go and put this girl to bed though.
All right.
She just turned 3 years old.
Oh, happy birthday!
And she's in her princess tangled dress.
Holy shit! Wait, I bought that dress for my niece when she turned 3. It's from the Disney store, isn't it?
I don't know where it's from. Probably.
Oh, there's another one behind you.
Oh, there's 3 of them.
Wait, what?
Oh, there's this one too.
Oh no!
You're wet. Why are you wet?
Oh no!
Kids, do you like my puppy?
Aw.
You're saying burrito. Okay, let's go. Let's go upstairs. Let's go. Can you start brushing your teeth? All right, I gotta go. Get these girls to bed so I can go talk about Dune on my own channel. Bye.
All right, bye.
Bye.
Everybody go subscribe to Technically Mexican.
Here.
So now there's 3. So but yeah, figure now we're there in Samara, and now they're doing the performances. Nynaeve is still kind of bugging Birgitta. She's just like, is there anything? It's my fault. And she's just like, go away. I don't want to talk to you. Leave me alone.
Stop crying. Stop.
He's like, she's like, I made the decision to show you Maggedion. But you wouldn't have done it if I didn't ask. Well, I made the decision. It was mine, not you.
And Birgitta's getting rightfully upset here, right? Like, have you ever dealt with someone who felt too fucking guilty?
Yes,
being
most annoying thing in the world.
And that's
like, that's nice, honey, but we need to keep living. Let's go.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, exactly.
I went into this with eyes wide open, right? That's what Birgitta's getting denied agency is one of the most fucking annoying things like of all time. But that's entirely what's going on here. And why is it happening is because Nynaeve is still of the worldview that the world revolves around her, and therefore she controlled it all. Right?
Yeah.
So you only did this because I manipulated you into doing it. Because I'm such a great manipulator. Fuck off.
Yeah. I didn't think of it that way, but that's a funny way to put it. But yeah. Nynaeve is just I'm just thinking about her arc, and just like, oh man, we're how much lower are we gonna take Nynaeve? Like are we at the bottom of the barrel basically?
We're hitting kind of bedrock at this point, but
yeah. What is the chapter that Egwene does the bad stuff to her?
That's what can be learned in dreams, chapter 15.
Okay. All right, this is as low as it goes.
Okay, because I like how earlier Egwene just eventually just wouldn't let Nynaeve even put a word in. Like Nynaeve was just, I think after that thing, I think Nynaeve was avoiding her. Is that the case? Pretty much, like that's why Elaine's been the one going in and giving reports and getting report from them, and And I think the wise ones are like, "Where's Nynaeve? Where's Nynaeve?" and everything. So, so I don't know. But I don't know what else. I don't know what else is there to take away from this chapter besides that.
Not much. You can also probably skip 38.
38.
Well, maybe. If we want to speed things up, but yeah.
Yeah,
I
mean,
okay, they meet Uno, right?
Yeah.
Right, Uno.
So Uno. So Elaine's doing her. Elaine's doing her performance. That's the other thing. She's doing her
Legs like a bloody queen.
And the thing is, she's not doing she's not channeling. I don't think she's not channeling because of the fact that Megiddian.
Sorry.
Because of the fact that Megiddian is out there,
They don't dare, but she's been practicing enough that she is doing it all. But the fucked up thing is that they're still making Julian Sandar do this shit.
Yeah,
that's right. I forgot about that.
Nobody told him.
That's
nobody told him. He's just like, all right, okay, I'm going out.
And I just like how the audience is just is cruel. Like as they're closer, as there's more danger, there's more claps and more cheers. It's like they want it's nuts. It's nuts. I thought it was wild. So, but yeah, she's doing I think she's doing somersaults, performing
and cartwheels,
backflips.
You know what's really
Handstand.
horrible? If the showrunners read this, they're gonna make her be on a strip pole doing OnlyFans or something.
No, people would want to see that.
Yeah, well, as long as she keeps her mouth closed, I'm fine.
Yeah, all of a sudden, Nynaeve is there's Nynaeve is there's the audience, and all of a sudden there's Uno. There's this scary looking guy with this big scar and this patch. He's like, this guy, that girl looks like a bloody queen. She looks like a bloody queen. And he's like,
but Uno is a dead hero of the horn now. Who died sucking dick.
I'm going to disappoint you guys, but when I was reading this, I was imagining that Uno.
See,
I'm sorry.
You're fine, Brian.
Nah, Uno's not that fucking guy.
Yes,
Uno is a great side character, in large part because in this chapter and the subsequent ones, it's basically like Nynaeve takes issue with him swearing every other line.
Bloody this or
and if you go back, you realize, holy shit, this character did swear every other bloody line.
Yeah.
And going forward, it's like every other sentence where he tries to correct his language when he's in front of Nynaeve.
Mm-hmm.
The one that cracks me up, and I do this all the time, is when I think to myself, okay, you're in front of kids, don't say fuck. And instead I end up saying shit.
Wow.
Now, kids, this might be a shitty toy.
Fuck.
Shit.
Son of a bitch, But yeah, so we get to so Uno basically takes Nynaeve to while she's bitching him to watch his fucking language. Takes her, meets up with, what was the name of the other dude? What was the name of the other guy? Reagan. Was he wasn't in the show, was he?
No,
I didn't think so.
If he was so inconsequential, they killed him.
What's funny was for when we get to when we meet Prophet of the Dragon. I did not imagine what's his name. I did not imagine Massima from the show. You know who I did imagine as the Prophet. I was thinking Colonel Kurtz. I was thinking creepy dark room Colonel Kurtz bald. But I mean,
here's the thing. At this point, did you already anticipate this was Missima? Because in the Dragon Reborn, there's already kind of hinted at, because Moraine and Lan and Perrin, they heard rumors of a Shienaran in Gildon.
Yeah.
Talking about the dragon. And then Moraine said, or whatever, they're like, oh, I think this reminds me of someone I've heard about before. Do you remember Missima?
Yeah.
So attentive readers already like clued into this, but for a lot of others, this would have been kind of like if you weren't paying attention to named characters or whatnot, it's like, holy shit.
Because I remember Missima, because I remember in the Great Hunt, Missima hated Rand, because Rand resembled an Aiel.
Yep.
And Missima served kind of in the Eastern Marches and fought against Aiel and didn't like Aiel.
This poor guy in the chat doesn't know that they made a show out of Wheel of Time. Oh my god.
Who's this?
Stay that way. Stay that way, dude. Stay that way. Like just don't peer into the darkness. Do not touch the taint. It's so bad. Don't stay away.
Are we talking about
oh my god.
WWG ridiculously cringed?
Yep.
Okay, well the good point is it's not really a Wheel of Time show. It's more of like a Wheel of Time fanfic.
Yeah, you don't want to know, dude. I watched the first minute of it and I was throwing crap at my TV.
It's one of the worst shows ever made. There's another funny bit here though in this chapter. What is it?
I don't know.
Wait, is it worse than Rings of Power?
Yeah, I think we had this.
Yes. I think we had this detailed debate. I think it
was a great debate, and I think we all decided it was because of the malicious intent behind the creators of the show.
That was my final point, but you got to end on the strongest point. Am I roboting?
A little bit.
Well.
Oh, I was gonna say, of all the characters that you should take from the show, you should take Missima from the show as Missima in the books. At least that's not a bad.
Missima's a Chad. He's pretty fun to watch in the Kingdom too.
You just like his triceps.
He has like amazing arms. Though honestly, I had this old mailman that would be the greatest Missima. He even had a freaking top knot, and he had this creepy old this guy could go postal someday. And I used to see him, and he's always blaring NPR and his thing. He had Prophet of the Dragon vibes.
He was blaring
NPR
Public Radio
around the neighborhood, driving around. So this greasy old guy, kind of like grizzled old face with a top knot and a side shave.
I wouldn't trust that guy as far as I could throw him.
Yeah, me too. I was like, dude, okay, I didn't even leave the mail for him. I just took it to the post office. But I was like, that guy looks like that's Missima right there.
I forgot.
All right, Brian, we've delved into kind of the underbelly of society.
I like how going back to
get a slice of my pizza.
Prophet of the Dragon. Too bad Prophet's not here to talk about Prophet of the Dragon. But yeah, so the Prophet of the Dragon has a lot of power. Like he has I think he had a queen. A queen was talking to him before Nynaeve talked to him and everything. So like anything that has to get done, the prophet's gonna whatever the prophet wants, the prophet usually gets and everything. So I swear I heard stuff from. I heard a lot of Christian. There was a lot of familiar Christian stuff that the prophet was saying. Like especially, I was thinking the Hail Mary when he says, "Oh, Nynaeve, you are was it gifted? No, blessed among women and all that stuff." I'm trying to remember what else, but there were a few. There were the language of prophet reminded me of stuff from scripture, and
Very
everything.
much so.
I can't remember. This is what I was thinking when I was reading this yesterday. So, but yeah, like so, I see how they're setting him up. I'm taking it he's going to be. He's going to be. I think he's a little nuts. I think he's kind of lost his mind a little bit. And I think he's going to be bad at some point. He's probably all right. I don't know if he's bad now, but he's going to be bad or something.
Yes.
And I like, and the thing is, they don't really approve, like Uno and Reagan, they don't really approve of what he's doing, but they can't really do anything about it. So when Nynaeve's like, hey, we need ships and all that, because that's the reason why Nynaeve goes to him. And they're like, they're like, you gotta be careful what you say to him and everything. So,
yeah,
because apparently he can have people like Brand. He can have people hanged. He can have people like he's turning everything into he's turning everything into a Puritan.
Sorry, there's something very loud outside. But yeah, he's turning into a fanatic, and I thought that's pretty interesting because they're going into the end times, and that's just a.
I forget. Doesn't Nynaeve say, well, "What can we do? Are you gonna take Are we gonna not be able to do anything or something?" I forget how she responds to all those decrees from the prophet and everything.
Yeah, and then the other thing that was scary in the chapter is that they meet Galad. And I was like, what is this? What is he going to do? I was like, I hope this guy actually does the right thing, what is like morally right, which would be to help them versus what is like hypothetically, technically right as he should do as a fight club.
The best thing is that they both decide ultimately to help Nynaeve, and it causes a fucking civil war.
Yep.
A civil? What do you mean a civil war?
Dude, there's such
or like a big riot, or it causes a brouhaha, or as we call in Canada, a Donnybrook.
A Donnybrook?
Donnybrook?
Or Fuffle, even?
Yep.
A fucking Donnybrook. That's what fucking happens.
But yeah, chapter 40. Elaine is such an idiot when it comes to Galad. Like, Elaine was doing something dumb when she was 6 one time, and a 12-year-old Galad correctly identified it and went, I need to go get an adult. And Elaine has been grinding this axe for the last 50 years.
Yeah, because he's just like I will. He's like, I give you my word. I will. I mean, I only want what's best and everything, and Nynaeve is just like, well, what if you're going to send White Cloaks to us? I was like, I'm not going to do that. So, and I like how she's like, you know what? She thinks about it. It's like, yeah, you know what? I believe you. Screw Elaine's preconceptions of you. Screw it. I'm taking a chance. And I like how she reveals this later. Elaine, she's like, what you did? You told him? Yeah. Yeah. And then she's like, I think she's like, okay, or something. Okay. And that's it. So.
Yeah. And it was quite literally 100% just, yes, Galad, who always does the right thing. Like,
the right
Thanks,
thing,
Elaine.
not like the letter of the law right thing.
Yep.
Well, I appreciate it. I'm glad you're enjoying this. Thanks for sticking around, and yeah, thanks for checking out my video.
So. And but yeah, and then it gets good because Nynaeve gets tied up.
Shot at.
The arrows start flying.
Oh, at the very end.
Yep.
Yep. That's funny.
And yeah, and
Jamma will just protect herself, but I guess that would ruin the show.
Well, she's not angry.
But you're scared for your life. Like, you'd imagine you could channel. I don't know.
Yeah. Too scared to. But yeah, so that's chapter 40.
Yeah. So yeah. Oh my gosh, this chapter was. I was like, when is this chapter going to end? I mean, when's this going to end? And it finally ended. and I fell asleep. And then I woke up this morning. I started 41 through 46. That's all I did today was read those 6 chapters. So you guys ready?
But this is fun.
It's good. Sometimes we drive around just because we want to keep hearing the rest of the audiobook.
Yeah, I was just like, nothing's happening. When's this chapter going to end? And then finally ended.
Character development. It's not like, it's not beats. It's not plot points. Although, like, if there are plot points in this, what's great about it is just how everything kind of got set up in sequence, especially on the Nynaeve arc. Like, stuff had to happen kind of in order for it all to make sense. From the Rana Makura, so let's find the traveling show, to the revelations in Teleran Riyadh with the wise ones and what they were doing wrong, to the Moghedian thing. Brigitte comes in, and now we're kind of like, it's reaching ahead, and I think it's great. But yeah.
I was just like, it was
chapter 40. Yeah. Have we gone through this one, or are we on to 41?
Yeah, I think we're pretty much, I mean, there's not really much to talk about here. That's part of the problem. But it was just them going back, and it got to a point where I just completely lost interest in what was on the page and all that. So they just kept talking about boats, getting a boat, and if you need us, contact us or something or something. And
maybe we'll get you a boat.
Yeah, something like that.
That comes to a head a little bit later. So should we go on to chapter 41?
Yes.
Yeah.
All right.
So we're back
to the
to
main character.
Yeah, we're back to Rand al'Thor and everything. So so it's called The Craft of Kintovir. I didn't know what Kintovir was until I read further into this, and apparently Kintovir is a guy that made a lens that.
Yep.
Another like continuous.
So is that basically like a telescope that they basically had, the wooden tube wrapped around in brass or bronze or something, and then having a lens mounted in there? Okay.
But well, keep in mind for later chapters, Rand sets up a school in Cairhien. I think it's towards the end of these chapters. But this is kind of where the first impetus comes from. Kintovir is one of the first scholars invited to said school. But Rand begins kind of wondering about the legacy he's going to leave behind.
That was really sad. It just made me like hit me.
In part because the last time the dragon lived, like all society crumbled and left with a breaking. So he's kind of got this impetus to like not repeat that. So what he sets up are academies in the countries that he controls, which are basically giving all the money that he has, and he's apparently got a ton from Aiel conquests and other shit. So like pay for scholars to come up with inventions and new ideas and things to like benefit mankind. And Kintovir is really an impetus for this. So even though maybe it's not that significant of a chapter, I like it because this harkens back. If that's a later plot point, and it is, it comes back to this chapter. He met a refugee on his travels who is good with a scientific endeavor, and it manifested a benefit for him in this war against Couladin and the Shaido. But more than that, he basically perpetuated it by using this as the impetus to basically set up academies in all his controlled lands later on.
Yeah, Rand was playing Civilization and invested heavily in technological development.
That's why I love it.
That much.
I love Civ.
Yeah, like there's something that
I always go the
that's
rationalism
really cool
route. Exactly. Get a great scientist early on as you can. Boost your science.
Yeah, I don't need an Operation Paperclip from the Forsaken. You do not want to do that later on.
Yep.
Get them while they're young.
Absolutely. But so this chapter features the second smartest character in the series, and one of my personal favorites, the second dumbest character in the series, because Lord Waramon does what Lord Waramon always does: recommends the cavalry charge. Like, we could have a problem that there's a pot boiling over on the stove in the kitchen, and Waramon's solution would be a cavalry charge. gotta wipe it out.
Gotta call them horses, bro.
Yep, big fan. Love that guy.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
The smartest one.
They get rid of him right away. They simply send him back to Tyr to take out the brigands that were brought up or something.
True,
because he's actually a fucking idiot.
Yes, but he's not done yet.
All right, have a good night, Whisker Fisherman. Thanks for being here.
Good night.
Yeah, so they send Waramon. Aren't one of the soldiers doesn't Waramon have like a son or something? Like one of these guys, one of these many named tyrants.
Probably.
I don't know. Whatever. Trying to remember what else. I'm trying to remember what else was set up. So yeah, so there's a tower. So the telescope is on a tower, on a tower of wood, basically.
Like an observation thing.
So it's highly elevated. I think they said several spans, like 10 spans or something, 10 to 20 spans. So isn't that like feet or something in the Wheel of Time world?
Yeah, like
so
yards.
The span is like 2.5 feet.
2.5 feet. Oh, okay.
And then something important happens in this chapter that we realize that, hey, maybe the Wonder Girls are good for something, and they've all been learning how to channel really well, and they are pretending to be Aes Sedai, but they're not, and they haven't taken the oaths yet. So, hey, we could do cool things like use our power in battle.
Yeah, so apparently there's a lot of Shido. So there's like 100,000 Shido or something equivalent to like Return of the King or something. So
a lot of Shido.
So there's a lot of Shido. They still haven't breached Kyrian yet. I think the Kyrian are putting up a fight from outside. Like they're throwing, I think, they're throwing like spears or something, if I remember correctly.
Yeah, one of them's got a ballista.
Okay.
So they're launching spears with like a giant crossbow equivalent.
Yeah, so apparently, so I'm assuming they're on like the eastern part of they're looking at the eastern side of the city. There's a river, and the river is blockaded by the Shido, so that nobody can leave or no one can escape them, no matter what or anything, unless you're a rat or you're a bird, according to the book.
You got a river along the western side of the city. It runs north to south. They've blockaded north and south, so they can't get resupplied, and the whole city is basically.
So they're not on the east side of the city because they're coming from the east. So that's what
they're coming from the. Yeah, sorry. Whatever is here to the west has a river. They're cut off.
Bears are drafting quarterback Caleb Williams.
And the whole four-gate area from book 2, that's completely gone. So everything that was kind of like outside the city walls has been burned down.
So basically, the place where Rand finds Tom alive, I'm assuming that's one of the places that got
burned.
Okay. So apparently, I think that's pretty much we already talked about the ballistas and all that. So, trying to see what else. So now we're with Matt. So Matt's just like, I think this is the chapter where Matt gets manipulated by Lan to basically state what he thinks of the plan or something. the battle plan.
I don't think it's manipulated, but I think it's whatever. Like, I don't think like Rand knew from the start. Like, there were earlier hints that Matt appeared to know more about war than he let on. But it was kind of like, all right, Lan, why don't you go in first and like see what he says, right? Let him talk, rather than like manipulate him into like revealing a big secret. But yeah, this is the first instance of Matt revealing to a wider set of characters that he obviously learned something in Druidian.
Is everything okay?
What? Oh yeah, she's doing something in there. I don't know what it was. Women's business.
I was like, did I do something? Did I say something?
No.
Sorry. But like Matt, but yeah, like Matt, like I've heard Matt must have said, "I'm not a bloody hero" like a billion times already. So I wonder if he's gonna ever say, "I am a hero." I guess I gotta read and find that out.
Nope.
No, probably not.
Would Han Solo ever say it?
Yeah, no. What good's a reward if you ain't around to use it? I mean, exactly. But I'm trying to remember what note happens here. Even though I read this today.
Hilarity of the Lan, Rand, all the clan chiefs, and everybody spending an hour coming up with a battle plan, and Matt walking in and going, "I mean, I'd change this, and this, but otherwise it looks fine." Like Matt coming up with the identical plan in like 15 seconds, what all the smartest people in the room had spent hours and days coming up with.
Yeah, because I remember, if I remember correctly from my reading, he said it would not be a good idea to push to push the Shido into Kyrian, because then it would become a mess. They'd be entrenched in the city. They'd be entrenched in the city, and it'd be next to impossible to get them all out and all that. So
the whole plan was basically to not to pin them against the wall and break them against it, where they break into the city, but to break them from the south or one direction and get them running. And the key thing too is you got to give them an avenue for escape. Because if you cut off the bridge beforehand, or you cut off them to the north, then they would dig in and entrench. But the tactical insight from Robert Jordan here is probably like pure from the Citadel, where he got his education tactically, or what they'll teach you at West Point or Annapolis or whatever, is if the real goal is to like save a city, save a civilian population, make sure the enemy has an avenue of escape and direct them towards that. And for the fucking love of God, don't cut that off, because then they'll dig in, then they'll fight, then they'll become ticks, and you won't be able to dig them out. If you give them an avenue out, that's how you get them away from the population you're trying to protect. And Matt is, this is so great. It's, as Alex was saying, it's like he just stumbles in, looks at a couple of maps, and he comes across their whole battle plan like it was the most logical thing in the world. But it's also a battle plan that's informed by Robert Jordan's own education as a graduate of the Citadel, right?
Interesting.
Yeah, I love Matt at this part, like how just shows us what a great character is, how he's always like, well, I really just don't want to do this. I'm just going to lie down out of here because they're going to fight and I don't want to be here. But also here's my insights that I have now. Here you go.
So apparently what was going on with the four clans? So apparently there was like an up in the air issue with them. They're like, they weren't sure who they were going to fight for, but they were still there. I thought they were left behind initially. I thought they didn't come with, or I thought they didn't. So did they come along with Rand's caravan? Did they come with the Shido?
So the four clans that hadn't yet declared for Rand were moving towards the Jungai Pass, but this was it was the X factor. It was the ambiguity. Until contact had been established and could be like 100% sure one way or the other. At this moment, you aren't certain if they're going to join with Couladin or not.
Yep.
And therefore, it affects the battle tactics. At the end of the day, yeah, they're not Shaido assholes, so they probably will go. Well, they do go with Rand, but the uncertainty is what determines the battle tactics.
Yep.
And that's kind of what's significant in these chapters.
Don't look like you're about to die when they get there, because they may just join with the Shido because they want to be on the winning team. Basically, is the threat.
I see.
So
yeah,
I got to get going, Brian. But appreciate you having me on, and
Yes,
I really
thank you.
enjoyed last week's. So appreciate that. Your coverage of this book has been great.
Appreciate that. All right. Anything you want to promote? Anything you want to share?
I'm actually gonna let Dane do the March Madness competition. Probably do that at the stream.
I'll plug this again at the end, but like if you're watching us, you're probably on the Discord. We're doing March Madness. Alex and I, we came up with with Staple Bow, like we came up with what's his nuts? Shy Aspiring Dark One. He helped. We came up with like 256 of the dumbest fucking moments of 2, which when it boils down to is like a dumb moment every minute. Which sounds like a lot, but it's like we probably could have done 516. But anyways, we're whittling through the dumbest moments of season 2 in order to come down to a bracket like True March Madness of 64. And I think once we've let our Discord vote on all these moments, we're going to get down to 64, and then we're going to have to re-rank them. Because right now they're ranked by me and Alex, and we could be wrong on some of them. Hopefully we're not too wrong on most of them. But the final 64, we're going to get, Brian, we're going to get your view. We're going to get Steve's view. We're going to get Pips's view. We're going to get Nathan's view. We're going to get a ton of views. Chat, maybe we'll finally listen to chat and get a view on what they think.
Then you
We'll
can do
get a
season
ranking.
1 and season 2.
Yep.
No, that's for later. This is all season 2, my dear.
Yes.
This is shit on a stick. Like, we're going to get these fucking moments down 1 through 64, rank them, and then we'll do it on the Discord, and then maybe we'll share the results, at least from the Sweet 16 onwards on a stream too.
Oh yeah. So appreciate it, boys. Nerdporial, let WWG know the chapters for next week, and looking forward to hopefully being on.
Absolutely. Thanks for being here.
Thank you guys.
Appreciate
Take
it.
care.
Thanks, boys.
Have a good night. All right. It's just the two of us again.
Yeah, and I just stole Alex's whole goodbye. Okay.
But yeah, it was the highlight. So when I was not reading this, I was taking a break, and I was voting I was going in and checking every hour to see if you were updating with new stuff.
I only updated once a day, Brian. Fuck, like I was going every hour.
So, yeah,
but you voted, so I appreciate
it. It was a lot of fun. It was a breath of fresh air for me. So, but I'm trying to remember what else to take away from this chapter 42. This is still pre-battle, if I remember correctly. So,
So it's basically Matt is fighting against his destiny, right?
Yeah.
He wants to go off. He wants to go do other stuff. He's revealed to Land that he's like got all this additional knowledge, which has come from Ruidian. He's figured out their battle plan in seconds, even though here's a key thing to note. they've introduced like 5 great generals to this point. And the Aiel clan chiefs are kind of their equivalent. So there are like 12 Aiel clan chiefs, but they're kind of like Ruark and Bael and all the rest are kind of noted as being knowing war and knowing how to do shit, kind of the equivalent of a Gareth Bryn or a Davram Bashir or Agilmar Jagad or Rodel Interalda or a Pedron Nile. Right? There are 5 great captains in the West. There are 11 Aiel clan chiefs because the Shaido don't have one. And then there's Matt. And Matt took 15 seconds looking at a bunch of maps and he figured out what like 8 of the Aiel clan chiefs plus Rand came up with for days.
Oh. Yeah. So basically, I think drive them attack from the south, if I remember correctly.
Just remember this about Matt. That's all. It's like there's a great captain.
Yeah.
And then there's Matt now. He's like up here. The great captains are like here, and the Aiel are like here.
Okay. So I think here we get to 43. This place, this day, chapter 43. Let's see. So this is basically. I think this is the. I like how Rand is Rand's kind of thinking like this is it. People are gonna die, and he's gotta be okay with that and all that. So I thought that was interesting.
The most interesting thing about this one is how Rand wants to avoid having the maidens getting killed. Right? Because the maidens in the spear carry his honor, so he gets kind of convinced to like not go after Couladin. Right? Because that in part is why he's carrying a sword at his belt. And he admits that. It's like, well, it wouldn't be fair to fight Couladin with the 1 power because, like, I just fucking yeet his ass. But if that was his impulse, the maidens feel like it's their impulse to keep him from real danger. And at the same time, it's Rand's impulse to feel like if I stay away, I'm keeping the maidens from real danger.
Yeah.
That said, not a whole lot of shit happens elsewise.
Yeah, I'm trying to. Yeah, I just read this today, and so the fact that this is not coming, the fact that I'm not recalling this is not good.
Well, it's a lot of buildup, right?
Yeah. Yeah, and they basically, so basically Egwene and Avienda, so they're planning to channel. So he has Egwene and Avienda join him in basically channeling against the Shaido and everything. So they're they basically, I think they do it from that same platform, if I remember correctly. They're
on the tower that they built for the Kintovir kind of telescope.
Yeah,
and they're viewing it from afar. They're doing what they could do. They're not linking because I don't think they know how yet. But it's kind of all worked in, help where they can. But we're talking about probably the biggest battle in terms of manpower seen since the Aiel War. Like it's 100,000 plus per side. So
yeah, and then he's hearing Luce Theron when he's channeling like fire or something. He's saying, Ilyana, my love, forgive me.
Or is he? Or is he not? Gaslighting you, dude. Read and find out.
The books. That's what the book says. So, so the battle kind of begins there, and I believe they continue the fight in the next chapter, just covering the Rand, just get the Rand stuff out of the way. So, they've been channeling for some time. It's really giving him a beating and all that. And then all of a sudden, and I thought this was like, I'm like, did he screw up or something? Did he lose control? Because all of a sudden the tower gets hit, and they end up falling. He ends up keeping the women safe while he falls and bears the brunt of the impact, and it bursts open his wound from the Great Hunt. So he's bleeding again, and between that and just the Sidene, he's just freaking he's effed up. He's if I remember correctly, he's effed up. I don't remember.
He's exhausted, but yeah, it was at his weakest. He got attacked by Samael. The tower was destroyed, and they nearly all got killed in the fall.
Now that's he says Samael, but I when I was reading this, I wasn't sure if that was true, if that was just what he thought, who he thought was behind it.
There's no later revelation or revelation. What did I say? There's no later revelation that it was anyone else. So it's safe to assume that, that's exactly what happened. Like Samael was waiting for him to kind of be exhausted and then see if he could attack and strike kind of close to his heart. So, but that's in keeping with what the Forsaken, at least quadrivium of Lanfear, Grandal, Ravine, and Samael had kind of agreed to.
Yeah, I'm not sure how he found that out though.
He finds it out later when he realizes this is exactly Samael's MO. He tried to attack him like this before, and
so he can channel all that all the way from Ilion, basically.
No, he's not in Ilion. He can travel. Samael can teleport himself wherever he wants to be, right? He's not. He doesn't have to do this kind of attack from far away. But yeah, more broadly, how does Rand know this? This goes back to his merging, or is he manifesting past memories from Lewis Theron? Like Matt manifested earlier memories from being reborn. And like Birgitte, does she have kind of the legacy of past memories? Like what's going on with Rand? It's really manifesting itself right here. Or he could just be going nuts.
Yeah. And apparently not only was the tower destroyed, but apparently some of the maidens were hit by the lightning.
Jolene's dead.
So which one was Jolene?
Jolene was first mentioned, I believe, in The Dragon Reborn, and she was one of the first maidens, along with Bane, Chiad, and Avienda that you met.
Oh, okay.
In the show, she was dead from the outset, and Bane and Chiad beat the shit out of Avienda for letting Jolene die. But this is where actual Jolene dies.
Okay. All right.
Yeah.
So
Thanks.
I thought that was a little heavy, but I didn't remember the characters, so it wasn't as heavy. So,
it impacts Rand later. You'll by book 7, you'll get the import.
So I'm trying to remember if there was a particular scene that that was significant for that character. Because I mean, other than it just being another name in this,
It'll
series,
come,
which is an issue I have with the series, is that there's so many names and the names are meaningless.
It'll start like, and believe me, by the end of it, you'll realize how nuts it is.
So
it'll start. Rand has got a serious problem with. He's probably completely regretting giving the maidens his honor to carry.
Yeah.
Because what he really doesn't want them to do is get into harm's way. But that's what they seem determined to do. And even when he tries to avoid it, like in this chapter, it doesn't pan out that way, because he makes himself the target, or he'll always be the target of that attack. So that's what he's finding out here.
Yeah,
I like it, but it's something to bear in mind going forward.
So going to the Matt stuff, and the Matt stuff is what motivated me to read, to get this far and all that. So ultimately, I was disappointed with what I read, unfortunately. Maybe I was expecting so Dune just came out. Maybe not to the same degree, but I was expecting, based on what everybody said, I was expecting a fight between Matt and Couladin, and I was thinking maybe not quite Paul Atreides, Fade Rotha style, but I was expecting a duel. I was expecting to see a duel, and we didn't see it.
It happens off screen, and that might be the.
And I read this. I'm like, because this is what I was reading towards. I was like, oh, when are we getting to this? Where are we getting to this? And I get to it. I'm like, I literally did the Picard facepalm. I was like, no. And once again, I let my I let my own expectations. I let my own expectations get the better of me in this one. So
they couldn't let Couladin be that cool. That makes sense. Like, he was not an antagonist worthy of such a scene.
Yeah, apparently. But he did drive them out. He did drive them to leave the waste in this book. So I mean,
yeah, but he was a minor dude. Like, that's ultimately the perspective of a multiple reader. But I could see that, like, if this whole shit got like overpromised, I would have underdelivered.
It wasn't overpromised. It was I mean, I think it was Steve said that they would eventually fight. So
they do.
And for some reason I thought that there was going to be a duel. And so it's not
but it just happens in a flashback later.
Yeah. And then I read the flashback and I was like,
and it was light on detail. But the important thing here is, again, you got to think of Matt and the comedy and him trying to like escape what his destiny is. And he's like, all right, I'm going to ride fucking south around this battle. It's going to happen. Biggest battle since the Arthur Hawkwing, want nothing of it. And he's going south and he rides right into the middle of it. And his first impulse is like, these fucking idiots, some of which who I might have played cards with, they're going to die if they keep going on as they go. So I'm just going to ride up and tell them what to do. And
he ends up taking command. He ends up taking command.
Precipitates into like 3 or 4 different battles where not only does he take command, the fact that he took command snatched victory from the jaws of defeat over and over. He saves all of them. And the best part is, too, it's like the ones he can't save are the idiot nobles who decide to, like, cavalry is the best and, like, ignore all of his advice and go, like, ride outside. But the ones that do survive are the ones who, like, make the hedgehog structure pikes and crossbows and
the hedgehog structure was basically that rectangle, that hollow rectangle with the pikes on the outside and them on the inside, basically to be protected. So who was going on the inside? Was it
So the standard tactics from this point, it's like medieval history. You get pikes on the outside, you get a couple of ranks. Behind them, you get crossbows.
Yeah.
And that's the best way to defend against like irregulars like Aiel. And within this whole structure, you would have a cavalry reserve that if you were routing the other side, if you basically defeated the first initial charges and they were running away, well, then you send your cavalry after them to basically run them down as they're fleeing. But in the context of what we have here, you've got a whole bunch of noble idiots who basically don't give a shit for foot, crossbow or pike or whatever, and think everything gets decided with cavalry. They don't even adhere to tactics and think, oh, we'll just run them down on our own anyways. And they all get killed by the Aiel.
Yeah, I remember. Yeah, I remember seeing that. And I remember Matt's like, "Good riddance."
Excuse me. There's not a place for cavalry, but they got to do as they're told, which is the difficult part.
Yeah. So the fact that they didn't listen, I mean, fuck around, and find out, I guess. But I mean, I don't know. I don't know. Like I mean, it was interesting seeing this type of battle. Wasn't what I expected. I'll say that for sure.
Yeah,
and I kind of came out underwhelmed, but I don't know if maybe that was the point.
Well, it's
like maybe I was saying maybe I was expecting like a Helm's Deep or a freaking or one of the battles in Song of Ice and Fire. So this was
Matt gets the loyalty out of this of non-Aiel. If that makes it. So what you have here with the Battle of Cairo, it's like all the antagonists are Aiel, right? It's Shaido.
Yeah.
And the bulk of Rand's forces to confront them are also Aiel. Like it's his clans.
Yeah.
And Matt's little niche here is he's dealing with the Tyrant and the Kyrianan element of Rand's forces, which are necessarily small at this point. It grows later on.
Yeah.
But you can't have Matt become a clan chief. You can't have Matt kind of teach war tactics to the Aiel because that's not what Matt knows. Matt knows pikes and crossbows and cavalry and 2,000 years of battle in Randland, so to speak. Mm-hmm. That's where it kind of comes. But the enjoyable part here is basically Matt trying to avoid his destiny and getting thrust right into it as the son of battles and unconsciously manifesting everything that he learned inadvertently by asking for getting his memories filled.
Oh, I see. One thing I did like was at the end of all this, what are their names again? You have Telmanes. Telmanes is one of the the leader of one of the groups, and what's the other guy's name? I forget.
Dared, leader of the Foot, or do you mean Nalessian, who is the
Nalessian?
Nalessian's the tyrant one.
Yeah, and they're like and Matt's just like, oh, I didn't do shit. He's like, yeah, you did. Yeah, you did. They're like, fuck yeah, you did. We're leading. You're leading this column. We're live because of you. I mean, we're following your ass. We don't care what you say. We're following you. So I love. So that was that part I loved. I loved that part. I loved that. Felt very at home here. But other than that, the battle was just. Maybe I have to really know my stuff in order to truly appreciate.
On a reread, you get the
Robert
appreciation
Jordan.
that he fought 3 or 4 battles in a single day, and some of them are basically described after the fact, right?
Yeah. So,
and they're not meant to be so harrowing from an individual level, precisely because what Matt is telling them is how to fight properly. Right?
Yeah.
You don't win by individual heroism. You fight by like tactics and all following all the proper rules. Kind of. Well, that it gets better in like a later chapter, but it's like brushed over pretty quick. Because in a later chapter, it's like Matt tries to run away again, and he ends up in like a dozen battles with the Andorans, and he defeats them every time. But every time he's just trying to get the fuck away.
I like how I like how I forget which I like how he's just like, how did I get here? Like, what the hell did I do? Like, how did I get here? This was only meant to say, hey, you're doing this wrong, and then I leave. No, I end up doing
like,
this.
I should have bugged out, but I couldn't help myself, so I told you guys.
He's like, how do I keep getting myself caught up in all this shit and everything?
And he ends up with an army of loyal followers who are like, I don't give a shit of this Dragon Reborn guy, but I'll follow you to the pits of doom. But he's like, fuck,
I don't want this.
Oh, it's so great.
They're like, and I like how they're like, you know what, you're lucky. We're attaching ourselves to you regardless whether you want it or not. You're good at the cards. We know you're lucky because they played with him. So yeah, at Tears, so he's like, yeah, you're stuck with us now. So
that's Matt.
That's Matt, basically.
But that's what you got to enjoy out of these chapters.
Yeah,
right,
I did enjoy those. I did enjoy that aspect of it. So yeah, to be fair.
Are we through this now, or
almost? Yeah, almost. The
final other battles, other
Rand.
weapons.
We're back to Rand, and Rand's still like Rand's about to go. Rand was supposed to go with Egwene and Aviendha or something to find out, or to like there was like a what do you call it? Something with the four, something with an issue with the four clans or something. They were moving or something, and their plans were going to get screwed up or something. I forget. It was from.
They didn't know if the four clans were going to kind of pledge to Rand or pledge to Couladin, but it seems to be like after this, like he won. They were always going to come to him in the end. Like it's kind of resolved. Rand has got 11 of the 12 Aiel clans pledged to him.
Yeah,
that's kind of where it shakes out.
Oh, okay. So yeah, so he apparently goes off into the fighting again, and then it skips to the nighttime, and all of a sudden, apparently, he basically finds out that the battle is over. Lance is like, "Hey, it's over."
Yeah,
and everything, and
Rand was wounded or whatever from the attack on the tower and felt he had to do too much. And then Rand wakes up and it's like the aftermath. And he's super concerned about what he can do. And he feels bad that other people had to do things in his kind of name. And it's like the burden of leadership is what he's manifesting here.
Yeah, and he says
be the
like
best way to describe it.
Yeah, and he says right here, only a battle lost, and this is on the thumbnail. Only a battle lost is sadder than a battle won.
Yeah,
as Luce Theron, I'm assuming, based on the font. But how many faces will I know? Like Jolien's. I will never forget Ileana. Not if all the world burns and everything. So. Yeah, and then I like how it ends. Darkness came, and he passes out basically. So, but yeah, that's so that's Yeah, that's so we got 2 chapters left basically here. So,
Are we going to this one or 48?
46 is the last one. 47 47 goes back to Nynaeve, and I thought 46 was a great way to great break great breaking off point. So
I think we're on the last chapter, but you're right. So like Rand wounded, wakes up, what can he do? And then it like kind of ends with, all right, well, he won Kyrian. So
yeah.
Let's go give him all his honors, and he saved the city, and let everyone kind of bow to him, and blah, blah, blah. And they offer him the Sun Throne, and he refuses it, and then sorts everyone by rank. I don't know. It's like this is a cool king moment for Rand, as far as I'm concerned. Like,
yeah, I was speed reading. I was speed reading this part. Like this part was just, I don't know. I was just like, I don't know. It was a long chapter that just didn't, I don't know. Wasn't really until they got to the throne room, and he's like, I'm not. He's like, I've already sat on like hard shit. I'm not sitting on that fucking throne. So he's like, get me a chair and a cushion. And the poor bastard had to run and scramble to get him a cushion and
that's
chair.
part of it. But the other sad part of this chapter is like introducing all of the frickin' Kyrian and nobles that you might have to pay attention to later.
They were all in freaking Dragon Reborn, right?
Lord Dobrain, Colaver,
Torian.
Torian,
Yeah, and I didn't remember. I Torian, I kind of remember, but I don't really remember any of the names of these.
The real benefit
characters.
of a reread is like you say, nothing can spoil me, and then like you'll get free reign of all the fucking wikis.
Mm-hmm.
But
yeah,
when I was first reading this, I didn't have any fucking wikis, so
yeah. And so he's being, so you have Malin, the leader of the Tyrant nobles, is the one that's basically escorting him into the palace and all that. So is the entire Kyrian nobility, the are they all gone or because of the Civil War and because of all this? I mean, is there anybody left? It seems like it's nothing but tyrants and maybe
the 2 big houses are the Damodred house, which is Moraine's house. They're pretty much done, and the Ryoton house. So Ryoton and Barthanes have been like exchanging the throne for like 100 years or more.
Mm-hmm.
The other houses are all kind of like second-tier houses. So Ryoton and Barthanes are gone. All the other houses that you get introduced to kind of in this book and the next one are kind of like the second-tier ones that think that they might have an avenue to power through Rand. But
I see.
This is not a B plot. It's like an H plot. That's
an H
how
plot?
far down.
Yeah.
That's how far down it is. Like it's not significant.
Yeah, I didn't think so. So the other thing I took from this chapter that I thought was interesting and rather tragic that actually did keep my attention was, so apparently Asmodean is not carrying the banner anymore when they're moving. So apparently there's this new guy that he's I think Hyrianan or something. I'm trying to find his name. But apparently his entire family was killed.
Fuck, what is his name?
I think it's Pern. No, not Pern.
No, it can't be Pern. That would be too perfect.
No, 46. Pevin. Yeah.
Pevin is like the greatest Wheel of Time character ever.
Doesn't say a damn word. but yeah, like his story was
not this. Like, yeah, I don't. I honestly think he has a line of spoken dialogue, but Kevin. It's like 3 beliefs, right? Dragon has been reborn. I gotta serve him, and if I do, I'll get revenge.
yes, I thought that was awesome. But yeah, I thought that was a little. I thought it was something. I don't know. I thought it was something that grabbed my attention. So, but yeah,
You and a few other, and I hate to say it, but he's not on the cover of Path of Daggers, even though his banner is.
I see.
Weep for Pevin.
Oh, I see.
Poor guy.
Oh.
Anyways,
I think that's it. That's pretty much it. 40.
I gotta go let Fitzy out because he's been barking 5 times.
All right, so you already plugged.
I'm
yourself
mentally
away.
on to like dogs pissing rather than this. So,
all right, man.
No, this is good book club.
Yes, it was.
I won't be back next week because I'll be out of town. I'll be out of the country.
Yeah. So yeah, we're going to be covering the rest of the. So if I can get everybody else, hopefully we get everybody else. We cover the rest of the book next week. Nathan will come back, and Alex, and hopefully
so much better than just.
So. But yeah, man. So for me this week, there's going to be a Chilporiel with certain pips on Thursday. So the thing is, I plan to finish Fires of Heaven before that Chilporiel. So me and Pips are going to talk about the Fires of Heaven because he hasn't been able to make it for these book clubs. So this is my way of talking to him with this. So yeah. And maybe and talk a little bit about the Shadow Rising too. So, but yeah, so that's Thursday, and that's pretty much it. Everybody, take care. Thanks for being here, Dane. Everybody in the chat, love you. Definitely hit the bell, Dane. Why should they hit the bell for notifications?
I don't know. Do you get money for it?
You actually get notified because when you hit the subscriber. Nobody gets notified of videos or live shows or anything.
I turn off all notifications on my phone. I'm sorry. Is that just me?
Depend. Well, yeah, it probably is just you. Depends. But yeah, to turn on the bell, you get notified, and then if it's something you like, then you could swipe away and everything. So, but yeah. So hope to see you guys on Thursday. Hope to see you guys on Thursday for the Chilporiel. We'll definitely be. It could be more Wheel of Time focused Chilporiel, and maybe whatever Pips focused one actually, but that's beside the point. But yeah, all right, everybody. Later. Take care. Have a good night.
Bye bye.